Blabber.
After their big reunion, and then Dennis couldn't tour, and you were brought in. Was there any sense of like looking over your shoulder, like, hey, is this guy coming back? Is it, am I safe? Or like, how many years did it take for you to finally feel settled in the band?
Well, let's see now. I never comment on, for example, whatever disrupted their relationship, because I know nothing of that.
Right, you don't have to do that.
Wasn't there, right?
That's why I'm talking specifically about how you felt and what you went through at that time.
Yeah, when I got a call, would I consider joining the band on tour? I considered that. Went to Tommy's place in Los Angeles, and the whole band was there, and our manager, but in the car ride over to Tommy's place, JY picked me up at the airport. JY made it clear to me that, when they saw me perform in Montreal and Quebec City, he said, you were in our heads, and enough so that, a lady named Kim Ouellette mentioned me to Tommy when they said, we want to do this tour. They went, yeah, that's right, that guy from Canada. And JY, I remember, just said to me, we're kind of fond of you already, and we'd like to see if this is the future for the band. And then when we sang together that day, well, for a couple of great things happened. One is I had prepared a few Styx songs, and Tommy immediately stopped me when I was about to play, I think, the beginning of Fooling Yourself. He goes, no, don't play A Criminal Mind. So that was a fantastic opening to us meeting. And so I played it. By the time I finished it, 7 minutes long. So, they were still awake, luckily. And he said, oh, we got to make that a Styx song. And so I felt embraced into it, like, immediately. When we did our first show, the only moment, and I've mentioned this in the past, the only moment that struck me was in the first show we did together. I think we opened with Blue Collar Man, or I think Brave New World, because that was the album that they just finished, into Blue Collar Man, into Grand Illusion. And after the intro, Grand Illusion, the ba 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 ba, well, people know how it goes. Right as I'm about to draw a breath to sing the first line, I thought, oh, well, here's an audience that are going to hear someone else interpret this song for the first time, and I guess I'll know in about 4 minutes whether or not we can stretch this out for a year or two. At the end of the song, things were very positive within the audience, and Tommy and JY came over with big grins on their faces, and it was all high fives to people in the front row and stuff, and here I am in the 25th year of being part of this amazing band.
Yeah.
I've never, the thing is, as far as looking over my shoulder, no, I don't do that. I get ready for each show each night, or whatever song we're writing right now, and do that. And if one day I have to go and, play just my solo stuff again, that may be what happens. But at the moment, we're such a cohesive unit. I can't really foresee that.
Yeah, you kind of get that when you guys did the Dan Rather interview, right? Like, there's no looking back to Dennis or anything like that. And, remember Dennis. Well, go ahead.
I would only say this, we are the culmination. The band that you see on stage is the culmination of the efforts of everyone who's ever been in it. So very obviously, during the period of Dennis DeYoung, John Curulewski, John Panozzo, even for the one album, Glen Burtnick, and two actually, because he worked on Cyclorama with us.
Right.
The first 5 years I was in it. We are the culmination of the efforts of everyone. So who you're seeing on the stage every single night is without the other guys, it wouldn't be what it is. And here we are.
That's a good way to look at it.
52 years later, and the band is, we'll go and play to a jammed, amphitheater tonight in New York. So it's a great, successful thing. The other thing I like to add is I remember about 5 years ago, something like that, I was at a Rolling Stones show, and I had great seats, and Mick came by, and I'm like, yeah, Mick, yeah. And Keith came by, and then, because of that thing they had in the front of the stage, the scene of that. And then suddenly Ron Wood came by, and I'm looking at Ron going, yeah, Ron, and I realized, he's not he's the third guitarist in this band, and he exudes everything that is in the spirit of the Rolling Stones is in this guy,
Right.
as it was in Brian Jones, as it was in Mick Taylor. And the spirit of a band is what needs to thrive, needs to move on and survive any seismic, earthquakes that come along. And I would only point to the fact that this band has doubled the length of its existence over the last 25 years, and that means that something about it is right.